Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to E-Factor Radio, evolving, electrifying, and empowering humanity with universal love, with host Brenda Pierce and guests, elevating consciousness through thought-provoking conversation with some of the world's leaders in consciousness and personal transformation. Listen live each week at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, or download the powerful podcasts on demand for your listening pleasure. E-Factor Network is the home of E-Factor Radio and several independent broadcasters worldwide. Visit efactornetwork.biz today. Now, let's get on with the show.
Wow, and welcome to another edition of the fantastic E-Factor Network radio broadcast show. And I'm Brenda Pierce, your host and spirit guidess today, as we work today with Gil Alan, who is an amazing spiritual teacher, speaker, and writer. We are so honored to have Gil with us today. And before we get on with our show and with Gil, I just want to talk a little bit about E-Factor Network. If you're an independent podcaster and want to have massive distribution for your podcast to reach new audiences, create new clients, make sales, and just make a big difference in the world, contact me at brenda@efactornetwork.biz and let me help you to get yourself distributed and heard to bigger and wider audiences worldwide. We are creating quite a massive stir in the podcasting world as we are becoming one of the premier distributors of podcasts. So I look forward to working with you to help you become more visible in any way possible that you wish. We are also a marketing and publicity company, so if you have a desire to expand your reach and elevate consciousness, contact me today. And now to talk about Gil Alan. Through his international workshops and private sessions, Gil Alan empowers people all over the world to become their own source of guidance. Gil will teach you how to connect directly with your own spirit guides, and then together in partnership with your guides, Gil will take you on a profound journey of self-discovery and healing that will push the doors of your perception wide open. Learning to communicate with your spirit guides is the fastest, most powerful, and effective way to step into the natural flow of your intuition, expand your foundation of self-love, raise your vibration, co-create with the universe, and completely heal and transform all areas of your life. There is nothing you have to learn or study. The process is easy and seamless. It is simply a matter of allowing yourself to remember that you already know as you step into the omnidimensional aspect of your infinite self. So Gil has been an amazing representative of the spirit guide world, and together we are going to discuss all about spirit guides and do an amazing 25-minute meditation process. So strap on your seatbelts and join us as we welcome Gil to the show. Hi, Gil.
Hi, Brenda. How are you?
I am fantastic. And how are you today?
I'm really good. I was a little spacey when I woke up this morning, but I'm good now. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You were obviously in the omnidimensional world.
Yes, I was. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes
exactly.
I'm spacey all through the day, but I'm pretty good now.
Oh, that's good. Good. That's
so
wonderful.
Thank you for having me on your new E-Factor radio show. I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's been a wonderful opportunity to expand, and we're so happy to have you here. You have been an amazing guest on my teleseminar series, and so it was just a natural progression to want to have you as part of this new evolution in our podcasting world. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here, really happy.
Well, what I'd like to do is, before we get into the deeper conversation and all the wonderful stuff that's going to happen here today, I'd love to have us go to a brief commercial break, and we'll be right back to explore more with you right on the other side.
Absolutely.
Got a message or a gift to share with the world? Want to be seen and heard? Have marketing, publicity, and online service needs? Let E-Factor Network help you and your business get seen and heard by millions. Visit efactornetwork.biz today.
Wonderful, and welcome back. Gil, just if you wouldn't mind just taking us on a little bit of a journey as to how did you connect with your own spirit guides, and what was that process for you?
Wow. Okay.
Reader's Digest version.
This all started for me when my mother passed away. I think it was about 6 years ago. And I wasn't really a person who was studying any metaphysics, and I didn't really believe in angels. I mean, I was open to the possibility, but as far as I was concerned at that time, I viewed them mostly as fantasy, I guess. And I don't think at that time I'd even heard about spirit guides, maybe loosely here and there, but never really gave it much thought. And I didn't really ever think that I was very intuitive, anything beyond the norm. But when my mother passed away, it was about maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months later, some very strange, bizarre things were happening in my home, one thing after another. And I started to wonder if my mother was trying to communicate with me. And then there was an event that happened when my sister and I were together, and we went out to my mother's gravesite, and my sister had asked me if I would videotape her sitting there, and I did. And later that evening, I was rewinding the tape to look at something else, and I happened to go back to the gravesite, and when I got to a certain point in the tape, I heard my mother's voice.
Oh, wow.
And my sister was in the kitchen, actually, at that time, making some goodies for our movie we were about to watch. And I called her, and she came running in, and she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I just want you to watch this and tell me what you experience." Played that little segment for her, and her hands slapped over her face, and she said, "Oh, my God." And I said, "What? What did you experience?" And she said, "Mom, I heard Mom's voice." And I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "I know my mother." And we listened to it like 40, 50 times to make sure it wasn't just like some glitch or we were going crazy. And sure enough, it appeared to be my mother's voice. And a few other things had happened, and a cousin of mine had gone to a medium, and during her reading with this medium, my mother was the first one to show up. Oh. So my sister sent me an email telling me about this and said, "Call this medium today." And I did. And as it turned out, the medium, I live in Los Angeles, and the medium lived in Michigan, but when I was talking to her, she said, "Oh, well, my husband and I are moving out to Los Angeles in a few weeks." So I'm thinking, oh, my God, how many more synchronicities and signs could there be? So I made an appointment with her, and I went to see her, and bam, I connected with my mother. I had no doubt in my mind, Brenda, that this was my mother. The things that were being revealed to me, nobody would know. Not even the best psychic. I mean, you'd have to have planted mini webcams like all over my house, follow me around outside. It was just too specific and detailed. And, of course, they were all the things that I was very, heart connected to. And I was just convinced I am speaking to my mother. And actually I went back for a second session with her about a week or two later, and I had a list of 30 questions to ask my mother. And when I went back into the session, all of my questions were answered without me even asking. Wow. It was amazing. So when I left that second session, I began thinking about it, and I thought, how could this be? How could this happen that somebody could die and I'm talking to them? And so I just said, if I'm going to buy into this, then I have to understand that we are eternal, that energy never dies, that consciousness never dies. Only the body fades away and the consciousness moves on. And as soon as I adopted that as a perspective in life, everything began to change. And my own intuition began to expand. I started knowing things about people that I shouldn't know. Deceased loved ones began showing up for me to give messages from them to their loved ones. And I woke up one morning and this being or these beings just started talking to me while I was in bed and told me they were going to put me on a fast track to help other people. I didn't even know it was a spirit guide. I didn't know who it was. They told me things about 3 or 4 other people. A few were close friends, and the other 2 were just acquaintances. And it seemed like it lasted about 45 minutes, but it could have just been several minutes. And then they said, now get up and go call everyone and tell them what we said. And that's sort of how it began. And then every time information would come to me, I just picked up the ball and I ran with it. You know, I wasn't fearful. I was actually quite excited that I was connecting with someone. I knew it was some type of spirit. And then it was a little bit later on that I realized it was a spirit guide. And in the beginning, I was helping people by, I guess I was doing like intuitive counseling. They were readings in a way, but it was more like working back and forth with the person. So it really was more of intuitive counseling sessions. And then one day, my guides came to me and they said, well, you know, everybody has spirit guides, Gil, and your spirit guides are just yourself. They're the past, present, and future versions of yourself. That's all they are, and that's why it's inner guidance. Other versions of yourself that have existed on your soul journey are just simply returning to help you remember what you already know. And I was quite blown away by that. And I think I remember trying to search for it on the Internet. I was looking in books. I couldn't find anything about it anywhere. And I decided not to do anything with the information because I thought I was not receiving correctly. And then a lady came in a few weeks after that for a session, and she said, before we get started, she said, I have this question I wanted to ask you. Is it true that our spirit guides are just past, present, and future versions of ourselves? And I said, where did you hear that? Where did you get that information? And she said, I don't know. After I booked this session with you, I was just thinking about things I wanted to ask you, and this very weird thought just popped into my head, and I thought I have to ask Gil about that. So I knew when I heard that that was a sign. And so I asked her how much time she had. She said she didn't have to pick up the kids for another 5 hours. And I said, okay, lay down. I don't know how I did it, Brenda. I was just guided by spirit, but I connected her to her guides. We took this amazing journey. We found out who all her guides were that were currently working with her, what they were here to help her with. They gave her advice on how to move on in each of those areas that they were here to help with. We went into past lives and of her guides, and sure enough, it turned out that the past lives of her guides were her own past lives because she felt them on an emotional level. And after we had gone through all of the different guides that were there to serve her, I think there were 5 or 6 with her, she recognized part of herself in each one of those guides from the past lives. She's like, oh, well, this is why I like this. This is why I do this. This is why I have this fear. This is where this talent comes from. And we could see that it was like she was an organic tapestry made up of bits and pieces, not of just these experiences, but they were there. And then I tried it on the next person that came in, and it worked even better now that I was a little bit more familiar with what I was doing. And I remember it was about the 6th person I tried this on, and in the middle of the session, the client said, my guide wants me to tell you something. Is that okay? And I said, sure. And she said, my guide's saying that you should continue doing this and not go back to giving readings. This is a new way forward. Just teach people how to connect to their own inner guidance and let them get their own answers. And that was it. And I never went back to giving readings, and I've been doing this for probably the past 5 years.
Wow.
And it's amazing because everybody can connect. I've worked with people as young as 14 and as old as like 93, and everybody connects.
Really, really. You know, so oftentimes, you know, in this 3D density, we think we're all that is. You know, we're it. We're the greatest, newest, bestest, version of who we can be, and there's this separation, and we work in silos, and that is, obviously a sense of amnesia that we've been given. But I wonder why, when all this wisdom is waiting for us to assist us, why are we trying to function so singularly?
Good question.
If we knew that, we wouldn't be doing it, right?
I think it's because we're not taught this. And so we don't develop this awareness unless we start feeling something, we start listening to other people talk about these more expanded ideas, and it's just education, really. I mean, there is a reason that we're veiled from this, because if you come into this world just fully knowing and being aware that you are source energy, and that you are so much more than just the physicalized being that you see, it would be very hard to buy in to this 3D reality and the concept of being human and go through everything as a human being that we came in to experience. Mm-hmm. We're not forced to be here. We choose this when we're in our just pure conscious state, or we choose it, from once we enter the soul consciousness. So we could choose to go anywhere. But if we're coming in to have a human experience, then we need to have that experience fully. Mm-hmm. So that's why we are veiled from certain things. And you don't automatically you're just not in tune with all of your past lives or the past experience that your soul has had on this journey, probably for billions of years.
So do you think then that, that this awakening that's occurring now, where all of a sudden, we come to have this 3D density, and now we're having the option of being able to connect with our support team, our total support team. Do you think that was possible in previous lives, or is this a heightened new aspect now?
It's always been available, but the energy on our planet is different now. It's been opening up more and more, and there have been layers of the veil, so to speak, that have been lifted, and so it's easier. More and more people are having connections with deceased loved ones. They're having energetic connections with each other through their dreams, through their conscious states. More is happening and more people are seeing it. And, of course, the more people talk about it, then the awareness continues to expand. But it's always been there. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not consciously aware that you have spirit guides or you have alternative versions of yourself or that you can talk to spirit, there's always information flowing through to every one of us through our intuition. The intuition is not actually the information. It's sort of the energy mechanism that the information flows into us on. And that's been happening from the very beginning. And some people are more aware of that, and they will act on it, and other people see it as a gut feeling they get once in a while, and some people don't act on their intuition at all. But there's always information. I mean, all of the ideas that we get, the inspiration, those are coming in from our higher selves. The brain is just a mechanism. It's a hard drive, and it's an incredible mechanism, but the brain itself doesn't create inspiration.
No, that's
it
true.
Just runs programs like your computer. So all of this other fantastic stuff and information is coming in from consciousness. The mind is consciousness. It's not the brain. The brain is just a mechanism, and mind is consciousness, and that's where everything is coming from. So I do think, to answer your original question, that it was available from the very beginning. Okay. But I just think that it's more prevalent now because, this is the age of information, and so a lot more information is being shared on the Internet. There are tons of books about it, videos. People are talking about it, and people are having experiences, and that's helping a lot of people open up and awaken, because most people have had some type of spiritual experience in their life, but maybe didn't know exactly what it was. Maybe they were afraid of it. They didn't understand it, or they didn't have anybody to talk to about it. And now the community of human beings that are just becoming more aware is vastly growing. And with the internet, we can connect to other people and see things and talk to people in far-off places.
Well, this is really what's really nice and neat about the internet. It's either a vehicle for good and enrichment, or it can be a vehicle for horrible things that happen and we hear about. But it has definitely connected us more in a way that, even 10 years ago, people would never have had these kinds of discussions openly like this.
Oh, absolutely not. There were a few people talking about it, and it was prevalent, but it was an oddity. And now it's more commonplace. It's interesting because sometimes in private sessions when I have extra time or people request it, I'll take them into the future. And I remember going into the future with a few different clients, like about 300 years past where we are now. And meditation is being taught in education, not so much from a spiritual perspective, but just more as a help aid to help students focus and to open up their capacity to learn. And people are talking about their spirit guides, like in the supermarket when they bump into each other. Oh, my guide told me today, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
it's expanding, and it's going to continue to expand. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, politics seems to be still the same, but the spiritual realm is
change in spite of it, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to. I think critical mass is happening, and I think the old guard are kind of on the run right now, and you can see through a lot of the control mechanisms nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's our spirit guides helping us to understand that, I myself, I would love to meet my spirit guide. I haven't had that experience yet, and I look forward to that. And I think, there's more of a willingness of knowing that we are more than this flesh and blood that we see, and we are this infinite spirit. And because we have been, functioning in silos so much, it's such an expansion and such a beautiful gift to understand that we are more than this, and let's bring it on.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Gil, we have some callers on the line. Would you be willing to take a few questions from somebody?
Absolutely.
Okay. So hit 1 star. I think all you have to do is hit 1 on your keypad if you're interested in joining the conversation at all. And we look forward to people raising their hands, and Paula, our producer, will assist you in coming forth if you wish to talk to Gil, and you may have a burning question about spirit guides and that sort of thing. But while we're waiting, Gil, what are the benefits to having connection with your spirit guide?
Just about everything you can think of. You can... Well, first of all, your spirit guides are guides and mentors and advisors. So anything you have questions about, whether they're about creating a career, about finding a path that's truer to your heart, just becoming more heart-connected so you can make choices from the wisdom of your heart rather than the rationality of your mind, finding out why you may be sick or experiencing, symptoms of illness and how you can heal from that. It's just like it's unlimited. I know so many people are like, I want to create more money, I want to create more abundance, and so many teleseminars are touting this, but it's not about that. If you want to create abundance in your life, then you have to create abundance within yourself. Just like Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. You cannot be in vibrational alignment with something. In other words, if you want to use the law of attraction properly to manifest things in your life, then you must be in alignment with what you want to manifest. Right. So, in other words, if I want a certain type of career, if I want to earn a certain amount of money, if I want certain type of relationships in my life, I must become in alignment with those things. I must become ready for those things. And a lot of times that includes clearing out limiting beliefs, expanding your foundation of self-love. You may have to be proactive in certain areas and step into what you want to create for yourself, and your spirit guides will guide you into all of these things. There's nothing that you can't change, because when you're communicating with your guides, you're tapping into higher expanded wisdom. You're basically tapping into source. You're talking to God. You're talking to the God consciousness, and it doesn't get any better than that.
Right,
you know.
Right.
And when there's other humans that you need to be led to, your guides will help you connect with those people. I've seen people heal from physical ailments, mental ailments. It's just, you learn as you continue connecting with your spirit guides, which is your inner guidance, you automatically begin increasing and expanding your foundation of self-love. And that's the most important thing, because that's where we make our decisions and our choices from. It all comes from our own foundation of self-love. How we love ourselves and how we see ourselves is literally the optical and emotional lens of clarity of how we see the world. And you cannot see it any other way beyond your own level of self-love. So no matter what your guides are helping you with, their ultimate task is to guide you back to your authentic self, to help you expand your foundation of self-love, to help you understand that you are this magnificent, multidimensional being that comes from source energy, and that you are capable and responsible for creating everything in your life. And you can change any situation, you can transform anything that you want to, and no matter how you're asking to work with your guides, they are constantly, gently guiding you back to your authentic self every time they work with you. And there's nothing you can't transform. And eventually you find yourself in a place where no matter what is happening in your life, no matter what challenges you have, you just exist every day with an incredible foundation of inner peace, and you learn to live your life fearlessly. And there's no better freedom than that.
Exactly. Well, and it sounds like you live your life that way, and you speak from your own personal example of your own experiences. So no better person to help us to connect with our spirit guides than someone who really lives in that truth. So thank you, Gil.
You're welcome.
So in your work that you've been doing with helping other people to connect with their spirit guides, I'm sure some very amazing stories have come out of the encounters. Would you be willing to share an example of where life transformation in the here and now happened because of the spirit guide connection?
Okay, let me think of something. This every time somebody asks me a question like this, my mind goes blank. It's so funny. I try to think of a particular, clients just seem to blend together. Let's come back to that later. I don't know why. I just can't seem to pull up a particular thing.
Well, oftentimes that happens to me too. An example comes up later and pops out in the conversation. So we've got time to revisit that for sure. So in your own life, what new magnificent things have happened because of the connections?
Oh my God, everything has changed. In fact, I was just telling a client this a few days ago that if I look back on my life like just 5 years ago, it's so vastly different. My inner world is so vastly different that I almost don't recognize myself from 5 years ago. I mean, I can see situations and places that I was, but it's almost like viewing a past life, because my guides have helped me to like unravel my own insecurities, my own fears, help me focus in on what I came here to do, my own talents. I actually had, way back when this first began, well, it was probably about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, where I got very, very sick. I didn't know how sick I was. I thought I just had the flu, but I actually had sepsis running through my bloodstream, and my intestines were like all torn up. And eventually I went to the hospital when I had had a fever for like 14 or 15 days, and I thought this is not normal. And while I was in the hospital, they actually wanted to do surgery on me the next morning to cut out all the damaged intestines, and they had put me on 4 different types of intravenous antibiotics. It was pretty intense. They had told me if I had not come in, I probably would have died in 2 more days.
Oh my God.
So there I am, laying there 2 days away from death, and I remember looking up at the ceiling like the first night I was there, and I actually saw angels for the first time. I saw my spirit guides, and I saw these angels, and they were sort of above me, and they just said, you know, you're going to be fine. We told you you were going to be fine before, and we're going to show you how to bring some healing energy into your body, and every time we come to you, just do what we say, and you'll be fine. And I did. I mean, God knows I was on tons of morphine, so I was just anything anybody said I would have done. And every day the surgeon would come in and ask me if we could, you know, schedule the surgery, and I said no, I didn't want to have it. And he had told me, you know, if you don't have it, you'll eventually die. So I said, well, if that's my path, then I'm fine with that. Anyways, every time the spirit guides and the angels came in, I did what they said, and they showed me how to bring this energy in and like move it through my body up and down. And it probably did this about 3 or 4 times a day. And on the 3rd day, when the surgeon came in and I said I haven't changed my mind, he said, well, there's no need to, because I just saw your latest CAT scans, and I don't know how to explain this, but there's nothing wrong with you. He said your intestines are completely normal. And he said, I hate to use his terminology, but if you believe in miracles, I think you just had one. Because there's no way I can explain how this happened medically. So as soon as your, you know, fever is down for a few days and your blood returns to normal, you can go home. And I did. And in fact, my body's been better than ever since then. And I can't tell you, like, even the synchronicities that have happened. Back a couple years ago, when I was talking to my guides and saying, you know, I'd like to start working more internationally. You know, I'm working in the house here. People are coming in all the time. I feel like I need to expand and I need to get out, but I don't know how to do this. And so they gave me a couple things they wanted me to work on. They said, well, why don't you just work on putting like a workshop together? How would you do this work with more than one person? And I did that, and I went back and conversed with them and said, okay, I've done this. What else do I have to do? And they said, for now, just wait. And I waited, and then all of a sudden I started getting these emails from somebody in Australia that was inviting me to come out there. And I accepted the invitation, and once I accepted that invitation, other people in Australia knew I was coming. Some girl offered to be my agent and my manager for Australia and all of New Zealand, and I accepted, and she put together this whole tour. And I went to Australia in Sydney and Melbourne, and I was there for about 2 months doing private sessions and doing workshops. And then next year, the same thing happened when I went to the Middle East for 3 months.
Wow.
People just they come. I do what my guides tell me to in order to prepare myself to be in alignment with what I'm asking for, and then the synchronicities just come in, and the opportunities are there. And it's that easy. I mean, that's how you utilize the law of attraction. It's not about making vision boards and about thinking positive. It's about doing the real work and finding out, am I in alignment with what I want to create? If I'm not, why am I not? And what do I need to do to be in alignment? And once you're in alignment, that's it. The things just come in. They connect with you. It's like if you and I were in an office building, and you're up on the 20th floor, and you said, you call me on my cell phone and you say, Gil, I've got all these fantastic things lined up for us to do today. Get up here as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. And I'm down on the 5th floor, and I can't find my way up to the 20th floor. Every elevator I get in only goes halfway up. I just can't find my way. And if I don't get up to the 20th floor, we're not going to be able to connect. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? You have to be on the same vibrational frequency. That's what being in alignment is. And when we're not getting what we want to manifest, or we're not getting it fully, or it's happening too slowly, this is the only reason why. The universe doesn't play favorites. It doesn't give to some and take away from others. It simply acts on energy, on the magnetic frequency, on the law of attraction. However you feel about yourself, the universe says yes.
Wow. Well, it takes the fear factor out of things, doesn't it, when you realize that?
Exactly. And this is one of the amazing benefits. I mean, once you have this guidance and you know how to tap into your inner guidance, there's nothing you can't achieve. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to be a perfect human being. Nobody is. And living fearlessly is not about never experiencing a fear again. It's about knowing how to move through your fear, so your fear doesn't paralyze you, and you just learn how to move through it to get to where you want to be. And having this universal wisdom at your disposal, there's nothing better. I mean, it's like having GPS in your car. You're not going to get lost.
Wow. That's
the only
terrific.
way you get lost is if you don't use your inner guidance, or you don't listen to it and you don't act on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, so many times people say, well, I've got a gut feeling about this, and then they regret going against their gut feeling. So our internal GPS is there to really help us. And why is it then that, do you think, that we kind of negate it and don't follow it?
I think that people are not used to trusting themselves. We're just not used to trusting ourselves and the information that we get, because in most cultural societies, we are taught from a young age to use our rational minds, our rational thinking. And rationale doesn't always work. In fact, it fails more often for the important things than it does work, because here's what happens. In order to rationalize a situation, you have to put the details into, let's say, the little rationalization box. You put in all the details, and you let it run its software program and rationalize. But what if you're missing a lot of the details? Your brain, or your mind, your rational mind, can only rationalize what it is aware of. It cannot rationalize for the X factor and all the different things you're not aware of. When you're making decisions and choices and looking at things from the wisdom of your heart, the wisdom of your heart is eternal. It's connected to, it's not about your emotional feelings of love and whatever. The wisdom of your heart is the higher guidance. It's the universal wisdom. And that higher perspective can look at all the different pieces that you're not even aware of new people that may be coming into your life that haven't gotten there, knowing that you're on the verge of transformation, knowing that you're sliding into a pit that you're not even aware of yet. so many different pieces that you are not aware of. So how can your rational mind rationalize and give you a better choice when it only has limited information? And when you go to the wisdom of your heart, which is eternal and universal wisdom and information, that is full. So do you see how we're almost taught to not trust ourselves?
Right.
Because we're not taught how to open up to the bigger picture. And, you know, a lot of times what happens is people think they're following their heart when they follow their emotions. Now, your emotions can be expressing the authenticity of what's truly in your heart, but many times it's not. Many times our emotions are just generated from the thoughts that we're running over and over in our mind. Mm-hmm. You start thinking about something that upsets you, you get sad, you continue that, and before you know it, you're depressed. Right. But if I came over and knocked on the door and I said, enough of this crap, Brenda, we're going out for coffee and we're going to go see a movie, and you're going to smile. And you would. So as soon as you stop thinking about what led you to those emotions, your emotional state changes. The emotions are generated by our thoughts.
Okay. Well, that's the thing is, in this day, okay, so we're born into this 3D density because we chose it, but yet we're deconditioned out of our true authentic self, and we are clouded by our emotions. Do you think that some of that is purposely done to disconnect us from our true authentic self?
No, I think that's just the mechanism of the human being. That's how we operate because, it's so funny because we operate that way because we are deeply heartfelt beings. Mm-hmm. You know, we feel very deeply. Yeah. It's just, and that's fine, and that's great. I mean, that's why we have such passion, which is amazing. It's an incredible thing to be able to feel that in love or for your career or just in friendship for another human being, in creativity. I mean, look at the things that we've accomplished. I mean, ants don't build rocket ships and go into outer space and, you know, build, you know, hearts or bionic, you know, ant legs to replace the ones that got broken off. I mean, we do amazing things, but because of the way we've lived and our societies have grown, we just have become disconnected from that wisdom of the heart and keep, like, moving more into rational thinking, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. And we're supposed to be these deep-feeling beings. But you can, once you understand the way things work and understand that you should be making your decisions and your choices from the wisdom of your heart rather than the rational mind, once you're clear about what the wisdom of your heart actually is, then you can apply rationality with that as well. But strictly moving over into rational thinking, it just doesn't work. There just isn't as much information there. So you can learn to balance things out. And I'm not advocating that it's not good to be emotional or that we should repress our emotions, because we need to feel them. Actually letting your emotions out actually boosts your immune system, but we just get too caught up in them, and we think we tend to align what we're feeling emotionally as being connected to our heart, and it's not quite the same thing. Right. Because the emotions can be false. I mean, they're real based on what we're thinking, but our thoughts that we're thinking that are leading us to those emotions can be very limiting, and also coming from limiting beliefs, not coming from a truth, from a higher truth. Does that make sense? I don't know if I just made it more convoluted.
No, actually you did, because, you know, so many times we get caught up in the drama and trauma of the emotional experience that we feel that is so real that it is our reality, when really it's only a facet. You know,
it's only a facet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is our reality because we're making it real and we're keeping our focus there, but we can change that reality. Reality is malleable. It can be changed and shifted and molded, so it depends. I once asked my guides, what is reality? And the first time I asked this question, they said to me, reality is an idea stuck between two thoughts. And I said, wow. What exactly does that mean? And they said, well, you have many thoughts just flowing through, your mindscape, and they're just flowing through. And as soon as you stop and give one of those thoughts focus, it now becomes an idea. Mm-hmm. And it's held in like by bookends, like by the thought that preceded it and the thought that was coming in after it. But you stopped and you put focus on that one thought, and that becomes an idea. And if you keep your focus on that idea, it will manifest into a reality. So reality is an idea stuck between two thoughts. That's all it is. And they were using that metaphor to show me that I could have chosen any thought to stop and put my focus on, and that would eventually become a reality if I put enough energy and focus on it. Because energy is constantly looking for a form to manifest into, and if you put focus on something, it's going to manifest. So you take one of your thoughts and you're caught up in the circumstances and the events and the drama of some situation that happened, and you keep your focus there, then you're living in drama. Mm-hmm. If you decide to let it go, even if it's momentarily, and you're going to focus on something else, then that becomes your reality. So wherever we are in our lives, it's because we created that. We created it, and we can transform
any moment
it.
We can change it and create the newest, greatest version of our life experience at any moment, just simply by shifting.
And it doesn't always mean that for everyone is different, and everyone's situation is different. And some people are able to manifest some things almost within minutes, and other people, it takes them a little bit more time to get used to it, and things are changing more slowly. But everybody can transform energy. Mm-hmm. It's within all of our capabilities.
Well, it's been scientifically proven, and the energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be changed. So, so that just means our focus can be limitless. We can, either create heaven or hell on earth.
Absolutely. And, all of these illnesses and diseases that we experience, we're bringing them in to ourselves, and not to downplay anybody's pain and what they're going through, because physical disease can be extremely painful and limiting and change our lives in ways that we really don't want to experience. But I was recently watching a TED video, and I can't remember who the woman was, but she was a cancer researcher. And she had been doing cancer research for like 20 or 30 years, and just recently she was sharing this information that her and her team had come upon, where they were able to take the cancer cells out of the body and then keep them alive in another environment outside the body. And when they left the body, those cancer cells reverted back to normal cells.
Oh, my gosh. That's
so that
amazing.
shows you that those cells are reacting to their environment. Mm-hmm. And the environment of the body is created from the person's consciousness. What are they thinking about 24 hours a day? How are you living your life? How do you feel about yourself? What is your self-worth? This is the environment of the body. And the minute that you take them out of the body, they revert to normal.
Wow. Well, that, is very interesting, Gil, because lots of times, as you know, I'm a registered nurse, and I know from medical professionals, we go through training, we hear all the horror stories, we hear all the diseases, we hear all this stuff, and somewhere along the line, we manifest those because we're learning them, we manifest them into our existence.
Absolutely.
Simply by being in the educational end of it, let alone, the life end of it. And so, you can be kind of like a hypochondriac because when you go through medical training, because, you're presented with so much stuff, and of course then you start going, oh, do I have this? Is that what I have? And next thing you know, you've got it. So that just really solidifies, what was a thought process of mine and coworkers.
And you know what's interesting? I just actually started talking about this with my guides a few days ago, and it's an ongoing conversation, but with a lot of people who have manifested disease into their body, these people are actually quite good manifestors. Do you know what I'm saying? Because their thought processes have manifested into physicality maybe faster and more explicit than other people's would. So they're actually very good manifestors, and if they could change the way they're thinking and the way they view themselves and perceive themselves, they could manifest right out of it as well. I actually have a woman that I've been working with off and on who lives in France, and way before she came to see me, she was diagnosed with MS probably about 10 years ago. Maybe it was more, maybe it was like 12. And I remember during her first session, we asked her guides to take her back to the moment that her cells had changed from normal, healthy cells to MS. And it was a moment when she was in her office and she was having an emotional breakdown and she couldn't take her life. She wasn't happy with what she was doing, even though she had a high position and was making a lot of money, and she just had a bit of a breakdown in her office, and that was the moment. Wow. Now, this woman has actually manifested herself out of MS. She just decided she was going to work at having the kind of life that she wanted. And I remember her guides during the session, they're like, all you have to do is, the whole reason that you manifested the MS was because you have been denying yourself what you truly want and how you want to live your life. If you want to reverse it, which she had already been doing, all you have to do is continue to give to yourself. Love yourself. Do all those things that you have been denying yourself. Put them back on the list and start doing them, and the MS will just fade away. And I think the last time we did a session, I'd asked her if she had been to the doctor, and she said, yeah, my last checkup, that they could barely detect anything in my body at all.
Oh, wow. So it really is mind over matter.
It is mind over matter. And like I'm not downplaying anybody's pain that they're going through. The pain is real, but we have to understand that we're responsible for everything that's happening to us, even if we're out in the street driving and a car comes out of the blue and smashes into us. We aligned with that in some way. In some way we brought that. I remember once I got hit when I was riding my bicycle, I got hit by a car, and the guy actually took me in his car and drove me home. And as I was talking to him, I found out that we were actually going through very similar things at the time.
Wow.
And then I realized that my guides were showing me sort of like in a graphic map how we were two separate people that didn't know each other, that were both out on the street at the same time, moving closer towards each other, and our energies were very similarly aligned in our personal lives, and bam, we just intersected and came together.
So there's no such thing as a coincidence.
There really isn't. I mean, actually a coincidence is, we think coincidences mean that something happened haphazardly, but it actually does mean synchronicity. Mm-hmm. So there are coincidences, but if you look at the different meaning of the word.
Right.
But just having things happen haphazardly, they don't. They may appear that way, but nothing is truly an accident. Things are being pulled together because of the energy held in each of those things. They're in alignment, like attracts like.
Right. Wow. This conversation we're having, Gil, is even without, actually bringing the spirit guides into it, but just the common senseness of what you're saying is really eye-opening for sure, and really makes you look at how life really is a great manifestation. It's just like it's not a random act. It really is something that we have full control over. And
full control.
Moving the blinds away really can give you a really new perspective and a fresh attitude. So
and that is what's so amazing with your spirit guides, because these are all things I learned in having conversations with my guides and working with them, not just with other people, but when I started working on myself. I was one of those people that ran around the planet at a certain point in time saying, why is God doing this to me? Why does the universe hate me? And I didn't realize I was doing it all to myself. It was just my own perception. That was the way I was writing my movie that I was starring in. And then I realized I don't have to write my movie that way. I can change it. And my guides have been expanding my awareness. I mean, I didn't have this information, this knowledge, any of this wisdom before. I mean, I guess I did in my infinite self, but not in the mindscape that was Gil previous to this. I was running around being a victim. And then I realized I was creating all of this. And my guides have helped me learn to create in a different way, in a way that serves me better for what I want to do and how I want to experience life. And I just love them. They're amazing.
Well, they are amazing. And, if this opportunity is for each of us to be able to embrace and bring into magnifying the experience of here and now by all this beautiful wisdom, I understand, Gil, that you have a beautiful meditation process that can help us to enrich us in our connection with our spirit guides. Would you be willing to share that with us?
Absolutely. It's actually not so much a meditation as it is a guided journey, because I'm going to take everyone on a journey. It's a little bit different than simply a meditation process. You're in a little bit different state, or maybe it's the same. I just like to call it a guided journey because it feels more like a journey. But yes, I would love to do that for everybody. And let me just say a few things about that. If you are able to do this, because it's going to last for about 25 minutes, if you can do this lying down rather than sitting up, that would be better. If you have to sit up, that's fine too. Just try to get comfortable, because it will be for 25 minutes. If you've got a little headset that you can plug into your phone so you don't have to hold the phone, that would be better. The more comfortable you are, the better the journey will be. The other thing I want to say is, when we ask about your spirit guide's name, don't get hung up on the name. Spirits don't really have names. They recognize each other, and they recognize us by frequency. It's just that it makes it easier to call out to them and address them if we have a name for them. So whatever name comes into your mind, it doesn't matter. Even if it's your dog's name, just go with the first thing that comes to you when we get to that point. Do not get hung up on the name. Even if it's your own name, I don't care what they give you, even if it's a character from TV or the movies, go with whatever you get. Your guides, if it isn't the name they want to go by, they'll adjust that at a later time. But don't get hung up on that. The other thing that I want to ask everybody is to just trust the process. Don't worry about whether it's real or this is in your imagination, because even if something starts out being a little bit more fantasy-like from your imagination, the longer that you stay connected and you just allow that flow to run through you, more and more authenticity will come into it, and the imaginary part of it will dissipate. But your imagination is actually a very important realm. It's another dimension. It's a portal to be able to access different dimensions and access this higher wisdom. So don't discount that either. So basically what I'm asking is just do this as an experiment and trust whatever comes in to you during this guided journey. You can always think about it afterwards. You can always rationalize it. You can always go back and listen to a replay. But for the best experience possible, just trust whatever comes into you, whether it makes any sense or not. Don't try to rationalize it. And I guess that's all I have to say.
How beautiful is that? So I guess the thing is, everybody who's listening needs to be in a position where they can be not focused on a task or, are driving, or they need to be able to be relaxed. Like right now, I'm in a reclined position with my beautiful dog, Daisy, draped across me. The Christmas lights are blinking and the fireplace is on. So, Gil, take us away.
Okay, great. All right, so please make sure you're lying in a comfortable position if you can do that and settle in. If you have to be sitting up, that's fine. If you are lying down, make sure that you're lying on your back and not your side or stomach. And it would be best to place your arms and hands at your side, or you can place them over your stomach, whichever is more comfortable. And I'll give you about 15 seconds to just adjust your position and get comfortable. And at this time, we ask that only those spirits of the highest vibrational frequency that are here in love to serve your highest good be present for this experience, and that they protect your sacred space from any unnecessary interference. You are now ready to begin your journey, so close your eyes and begin inhaling through your nose. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale and exhale on a 4 count, inhaling and drawing the breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4, then exhaling and releasing the breath, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't have to be exact. We just want to make sure that you're breathing in deeply and that you're exhaling and releasing deeply. No shallow breathing. This is about focusing on the breath, drawing the breath in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth and breathing deeply. So just continue practicing this method of breathing for a few moments until it becomes natural and comfortable for you. Drawing the breath in on a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then releasing the breath on a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Now as you continue breathing, I want you to focus your attention on the sensations of breathing, on the physical sensations of breathing. Simply allow yourself to become aware of all the physical sensations you can experience while inhaling and exhaling. What are these sensations? How does the air feel as it passes through the nostrils, into the nose, and down the air passageways into the lungs? How does it feel as you release the air from your body? Perhaps you feel your stomach expanding and contracting as you breathe in and out. Maybe there's a tingling somewhere in your body. Just allow yourself to become aware of as many of these different physical sensations as you can experience through this process of breathing. And as you become aware of these sensations, just allow yourself to be the observer. Don't become attached to any sensation. Just become aware of it, observe that the sensation is there, and let it pass, and move on to another sensation. And as you focus your awareness on these sensations of breathing, simply allow the weight and the density of your body to slowly fade away. Allow all thoughts to fade away. There is nothing else to focus on except this present moment, being fully present in the now as you experience all the sensations of breathing. This is your reality. Every breath you take is rebalancing, realigning, and opening your channel. You are peaceful, calm, relaxed, centered, focused, and expanding. You are infinite. Continue to focus your awareness on these physical sensations of breathing for a few moments more. Okay, good. Continue breathing in this method, and as you continue breathing, you can release your focus on the sensations. And what I want you to do is to think of a memory that's close to your heart. Think of a memory that's close to your heart, something that touches your heart in a very deep way. This could be a cherished memory of a person, a situation, an event. It might be something that touches your heart in a beautiful and joyful way, or touches you through a deep sense of sadness or grief. There's no right or wrong. The stronger the emotional sensations attached to this memory, the deeper your experience will be. So go ahead and find your memory now. Okay, good. Now I want you to take this memory out of your mind space and place it into the center of your heart. So use your imagination if you need to. Just think about moving the memory from your mind where you were thinking about it and move it down and place it right into the center of your heart. And I want you to hold it there and release all of the emotion from this memory and let it fill the entire heart space. Just release all the emotion from this memory, let it fill the entire heart space, and breathe. Continue breathing. And as you continue breathing, you will now guide the air that you're breathing directly into the heart. Simply guide the air, the breath, into the heart. And again, use your imagination if you need to. Just think about it. Put a little focus and awareness on it. And as you draw the breath in, think about guiding that breath into the heart space. Even though you know it will continue to nourish the lungs and feed the body, just mentally guide the air that you're breathing into the heart. And as you continue breathing into your heart space, I want you to step into the knowing, fully step into the knowing that all of the air that you're breathing into your heart is filled with love. Every particle of air that you are breathing into your heart down to every last molecule and atom is completely filled and powered by love. So you are no longer simply breathing air into the heart. With every breath you take, you are now filling your heart with the infinite wisdom of eternal love. And as you exhale, you are returning this love back to the universe. Inhale and fill the heart with love, then exhale and return that love back to the universe. Continue this process for a few moments. As you continue breathing love into the heart, this process will open and expand your heart chakra, which is the portal that facilitates your connection to the spirit realm and expands you into your own multidimensionality. And you do not need to know how to do this. It will happen automatically as you simply continue breathing love into the heart. And as the heart chakra continues to open and expand, all of the other chakras in the body will fall into alignment and begin opening and expanding as well. And there is nothing you need to know how to do. Simply continue breathing love into the heart. Continue this for a few moments more. Okay, good. Now, as you continue breathing, I want you to now allow your body to take over the heart breathing process for you so you can free your mind. And you do not need to know how to do this. It's simply a matter of allowing. So just release the process of the heart breathing to the body now. Your body knows what to do. And now I want you to allow your consciousness to gently rise up out of the body. And again, you do not need to know how to do this. It's simply a matter of allowing. So just allow the consciousness to leave the body and float above it. Your consciousness will still be energetically connected to the body. But this is a journey through consciousness, and there is no use for your body. Your body will remain safe and secure and take care of itself. So just allow the consciousness to gently rise up out of the body. Imagine your consciousness outside the body and hovering above you, several feet above you. And now that your consciousness is outside the body, it will begin to realign itself with its natural vibrational frequency as pure conscious intelligence. And this happens automatically. There is nothing you have to do. Simply allow yourself to become pure intelligence. Allow yourself to become pure imagination. Allow yourself to become pure light and love as you enter the realm of infinite possibility. I want you to listen carefully to the sound of my voice as I guide you further into a deeply relaxed state of consciousness. As I count from 30 down to 1, you will release all fear and doubt as you step into this knowing of infinite possibility and allow the natural flow of your own intuition to unfold. And every time you hear me say the word deeper, you will automatically go 10 times deeper into a deeply relaxed state of consciousness. Every time you hear me say the word deeper, you will automatically go 10 times deeper into a deeply relaxed state of consciousness. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, going deeper, deeper, and deeper. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, going deeper, deeper, and deeper. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, going deeper, deeper, and deeper. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going deeper, deeper, and deeper. You are now in a deeply relaxed state of consciousness, ready to meet your primary spirit guide. You will remember everything that happens on this journey. You will now begin communication with your primary spirit guide using telepathy. And telepathy is simply the exchange of thoughts in your mind, sending and receiving thoughts in your mind. So using telepathy, just silently in your mind, I want you to ask your primary spirit guide to please step forward and introduce themselves to you by name, and go with the first name that comes into your mind. Do not question it. So go ahead and ask your primary spirit guide to please step forward and introduce themselves to you by name. Do this now. Once you have your guide's name, allow yourself to feel the energy of your spirit guide and ask your guide to show themselves to you the way that they want to be seen. You may see this as a visual image, or you may simply feel the imagery through your senses or your sense of knowing. But just allow yourself to be vulnerable and know that your guides already know everything about you. So just allow yourself to be vulnerable. Exchange energy with your guides. Allow yourself to open up your space to your guide so you can exchange energy. And ask your guide to show themselves to you the way they want to be seen. Or perhaps tell you a little something about who they are. Go ahead and do this now. And remember to be patient. When you ask a question, no need to go looking for the answer or the information. Just allow it to drift into you as easily as a cloud drifting through the sky. The information will come to you if you relax. Spend a little bit more time with your guide. Have them tell you something about them. Make sure that they show themselves to you the way they want to be seen. I'll give you a few more minutes. Okay, good. Now I want you to ask your guide, how many other primary spirit guides are currently working with you in your life today? How many other primary spirit guides are currently working with you in your life today? Ask them to send the number into your thoughts or show you a visual image of the number in your mind's eye. How many other primary spirit guides are currently working with you in your life today? Go ahead and do this now. And go with the first number that comes into you. Do not try to overthink it or rationalize it. Whatever number comes into you, go with that number. You can always check with your guide to see if the number is accurate by simply asking them yes or no. So whatever the number is that you received, let's say that it's 7, you can ask your guides, I'm receiving number 7. Is this the correct number of guides that are working with me? Yes or no. And just wait to receive a yes or no answer. If it's no, you can ask your guides to give you the correct number. We're going to move on now, and we will continue working with your primary spirit guide on this journey, but you can get to know all your other guides at another time. So what I'd like you to do now is, just using telepathy, using the exchange of thoughts in your mind, I want you to ask your guide, what is the most important thing they want you to know for today? If they could only tell you one thing, what is the most important thing they want you to know? Go ahead and do this now. Ask your guide this. What is the most important thing they want you to know? I'll give you just a few more moments. Okay, good. We're going to move on now. So although your spirit guides all work together as a team, each of your guides has a specific area of focus to help you with. Each of the guides has a very specific area to focus on with you. So I want you to ask your guide, I want you to ask your primary guide, what are you here to help me with? What are you here to help me with? Go ahead and do this now. And remember, don't go searching for anything. There's no need to push. Just allow the information to drift into you. It will come. Ask your guide, what are you here to help me with? And if the answer you receive is vague, or you don't fully understand it, ask your guide, please give me clear and detailed explanation of what you're here to help me with. So if you fully understand what they're here to help you with, that's fine. And if not, just ask your guide to give you clarity. Just ask for a clear and detailed explanation of what they're here to help you with. Okay, we're going to move on now. Now you'll be asking your guide for some overall advice on how you can begin to move forward in this area. So whatever your guide is here to help you with, ask your guide this: what do I need to do in order to move forward in this area? What do I need to do in order to move forward in this area? Do this now. Make sure the answers you receive are clear and that you fully understand what your guide is here to help you with. Take a little more time. Take a little more time and get clear with this, as clear as possible. What is your guide here to help you with, and what do you need to do in order to move forward in this area? Take a few moments more. Okay, we're going to move on. You can always listen to the replay. You can always go back and connect with your guides by simply closing your eyes, focusing on your breath, bringing your guides in. But we're going to move on now, and I want you to thank your primary spirit guide for showing up today. If you were not able to connect with your guide today, know that your guide is here with you. Your guide is always here with you, and you can ask them to show themselves to you at another time when you're open to the experience or listening to the replay. So let your guide drift into the background. Just let them drift away for now. It's time to return to your body and awaken. So allow your consciousness to gently merge back into the body. I will awaken you by counting up from 1 to 10. And when I say 10, you will open your eyes feeling fully alert, refreshed, relaxed, your mind and body being in complete alignment. 1, 2, 3, more and more awake, feeling refreshed and alert. 4, 5, 6, even more and more awake, filled with energy, feeling great. 7, 8, nearly awake now. 9, 10, open your eyes.
Wow. Gil, that was beautiful.
Were you able to do that, Brenda, or were you busy overseeing the show?
No, actually, I was fully engaged in that and and enjoying every second of it. And unfortunately, we're already at the end of our show. That was really
time went
well
by fast.
timed. It has been. It was an amazing hour and almost a half that we had this beautiful time to be with you and with our guides and experiencing this journey. And I thank you very much for all you do, Gil.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, and thank you so much for having me on the show so I could share this with everyone. And do we have this special offer on the webpage?
I do, and we're going to have it's about your beautiful workshop that you have coming up, and we have it all linked up, ready to go.
Okay, great.
I'd like to encourage everyone to click on the link and experience what Gil can do for us to further our experience in this realm. And thank you, Gil.
Thank you, Brenda, for having me on, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And have a beautiful
amazing.
Day.
Absolutely. So listen to this replay. It was a marvelous experience. And namaste, as we are all here connected in this moment and eternally through this recording, know that you are loved and you are loved. You are blessed and a blessing. And Gil, thank you for all you do to expand consciousness beyond the here and now, to enliven ourselves in ways that we can have never, ever imagined before. So
it's my pleasure, my pleasure.
Namaste to all, and thanks for being a part of this wonderful show.
You have been listening to E-Factor Radio with Brenda Pierce here on E-Factor Network. Download podcasts of this program on efactornetwork.biz. Thank you for listening.